this here. Gaza gets limited aid after Israeli blockade, but is it too late?
They unloaded the few trucks that reached Khan Yunis under cover of darkness, armed guards defending the precious cargo. They wanted to get the flour to the bakeries immediately, but also daylight would increase the risk of riots or fighting. People in Gaza are hungry and desperate. At Deir al-Balah and across southern Gaza, they started baking without delay. The flour is being distributed to as many bakeries as possible by the World Food Programme.
The bread produced in this bakery will not be sold at the moment on the counters and the bakeries. It's going to be distributed through our existing network of partners, mainly the ones operating the hot meals kitchen, and given to the ones that are...
Remember, this is what Israel is doing, okay? This is what Israel is doing in Gaza right now, as Western media has completely been like, all right, this is, okay, sure. An afterthought. Channel 4 covered this for 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Channel 4, earlier in the day, as we watched, covered the Israeli ambassadors getting shot and killed for, I believe, what, like the entirety of the programming, 15 minutes?
Are mostly in this.
The Israel Defense Force plans to replace this network with its own food distribution system.
There's also
There's
also this, as I covered yesterday, Israeli protesters attempt to block aid trucks headed to Gaza.
To stop Hamas from stealing aid. But humanitarian agencies suspect the real reason is to force Gazans into military-controlled zones in the south, and to dismantle a long-standing and effective system that employs as well as feeds Palestinians in Gaza. In Nusrat, every family had sent a young man to see if they could get bread. During the ceasefire, 600 trucks of food entered Gaza every day. Fewer than 100 after an 11-week blockade is nowhere near enough. In Khan Yunis, children rushed to a place where they'd heard there was hot soup. They scrambled for the scrapings. And most left disappointed and still hungry. At Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis, amongst the wounded, they're now seeing an increasing number of malnourished children.
We're now facing a disaster, and it will be dire if there is a continuation in the block on food supplies. I predict there will be many victims because of food insecurity. Most people are now surviving off scraps of food or anything they have left.
If nutritional supplements and food get into Gaza, these children can pull through. But time is running short.
Let's go back to sleep, Rahaf. We're so tired.
This is Miss Rachel, hanging out with her new friend Rahaf. Miss Rachel is like YouTube's Mr. Rogers, with millions of subscribers and billions of views.
Can you nod yes?
And Rahaf is a 3-year-old double amputee, lost her legs when her home was bombed, and months later was medically evacuated to the US. Miss Rachel saw a video of the little girl, now living with her mom and a host family in Missouri, watching her show.
She's just so precious. Hopping like a bunny, and she was kind of hopping on the couch.
And arranged to have Rahaf come visit her in New York. Rahaf is part of a new group of fans Miss Rachel discovered last year, refugees of the war in Gaza.
I was tagged in a video of a toddler and a brother and a sister watching in a tent, and I saw the toddler swaying and the little girl smile, and I was just so touched that I could bring a little bit of joy to them during unimaginable circumstances.
Did you know that you had this audience?
No, I was...
Why are you saying mods to this guy? Dude, I can't believe the New York Times covered Miss Rachel, and then in the process of covering her, they literally got quotes from StopAntisemitism.org. She is impossibly nice. It is shocking. I think New York Times, not CNN, New York Times, when they covered her, they literally covered her as they covered her as like being too sympathetic to the Palestinians. She's nicer than you. Many people are nicer than me. Do you think I'm a nice person? I'm a nice person overall, but I'm not going to be nice if someone is a fucking bully. I will bully bullies all the time. If you spent a good deal of your time and effort and energy shitting on vulnerable populations, marginalized populations, shitting on those who are defenseless, I'm gonna shit on you. I'm not gonna be nice to you. I'm not gonna use nice words. It's bullshit. I have a tremendous amount of privilege, and I'm trying to use that to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless in mainstream media. Okay? I'm going to defend those who are systematically disenfranchised. This is very frustrating for a lot of people who feel like a big man. They feel only big when they have someone else to put down and someone else to look down on. Okay? It's at the heart of the insecurity epidemic, especially amongst young men. Those people. Of course, I'm not going to be nice. Pro-Israel groups are attacking an online children's educator for taking photos of herself with Palestinian child amputees and expressing sympathy with their suffering in general. These people have plumbed to the lowest depths of humanity. Last month, the advocacy group Stop Anti-Semitism labeled Accurso the anti-Semite of the week, and then the New York Post reporters sent a letter urging Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate whether Accurso is receiving funding to further Hamas's agenda. Accurso posted nearly 50 times about the children of Gaza, most of which is filled with misinformation from Hamas. Only 5 times about the Israeli children of the group, which monitor statements about Israel on social media. Like, dude, giving any credence to Stop Anti-Semitism, you might as well fucking ask the local crackhead what they think about Miss Rachel. What does the local crackhead think about Israel's genocide? Is it real? Do the Palestinians deserve less? You know? Is less more? Here's the local crackhead. Yeah, Stop Anti-Semitism isn't even a group. It's just one fucking psychopath from Long Island. At least the crackhead has only one agenda, okay? And that is to consume. The ADL has a separate agenda. Stop Anti-Semitism has a separate agenda. And it's certainly not to combat anti-Semitism, mind you. It is to combat correct messages about Israel. It is to combat the truth. Accurso, 42, in an email response, denied having received any money from Hamas. This accusation is not only absurd, it's patently false. Accurso said, the reason I post about Israeli children is because I care deeply about them. The accusation that I would be doing it for any other reason is outrageous and wrong. I've spent my life committed to the learning and well-being of children. I have always believed that safety and security are a basic human right for every child. So you see, caring about children in Gaza is a direct continuation of the work I've been doing most of my life. We don't care about only some of our students because of where those students are born. We care about every one of them. Of course, yes, for those who are pro-Israel, they're like, no, why do you care about the Palestinian children? You're humanizing them too much. They're supposed to be dehumanized. Please stop humanizing. Please stop humanizing the Palestinian children, okay? It's making our endless death and destruction campaign against Palestinian babies all the harder to sell to the American population, to the Western population. Please stop.
Completely surprised. Someone wrote, this made me realize that these kids are like mine and like ours. And I know so many parents that enjoy our show feel the same way. They say, as a mom,
Ms. Rachel seems to be someone who's really, really good-hearted, but in the context of everything that's going on, she says, I care about all children, but really she's talking about the children of Gaza. Stacey Hackner, a teacher of London Cheater, a school of Jewish instruction, said in an interview, that has left a lot of Jewish parents feeling quite isolated. Yeah. Taking money from Hamas is the funniest. Like, bro, do they even have money? How are they able? First of all, I love that argument because it's like, they'll be like Ethan was claiming that I was getting money potentially from the Houthis, okay? Poorest nation on the planet, and they're giving me money. Okay? At least with Qatar, like, it's a, rich oil nation, right? Like, so that one, it makes more sense. But when these guys turn around and they're like, Hamas is giving you money, Iran is giving you money, the Houthis are giving you money, it's like, do you hear yourself? All you're doing is projecting that you're getting paid from AIPAC or some other like Israeli advocacy group. And you're like, everyone else must be doing it too. I'm doing it. She's like, I care about Palestinian children. And then people's response to that is, oh, so you want all Jews to be murdered? Is like, that's just a self-report, man. You're like, you have tied those two things together. Like saying that like Palestinian children shouldn't fucking be murdered, slaughtered ruthlessly. If you think that automatically means that, a second Holocaust is going to happen, well, it is happening to the Palestinians, but A third Holocaust is going to happen in the aftermath of that. If they stop the baby murder, you're a psychopath.
I just think about, I see my babies. All children are worthy.
She's posted more and more about Gaza as the war has gone on, highlighting the humanitarian crisis and launching a fundraiser for kids. She's gotten supportive comments, but there's also been backlash.
The bullying is so bad. It's so bad. But I can handle this.
You seemed very emotional about the bullying that you said you'd gotten for speaking out.
The idea that caring for one group of children means that you don't care for another group of children is false, and it's so hurtful because I care so deeply for all kids.
In April, an advocacy group called Stop Anti-Semitism called her a mouthpiece for Hamas. A group accused you of essentially acting as a foreign agent and asked, for the Attorney General to investigate you for spreading propaganda.
Obviously, that's not true. I care deeply about all children, Israeli, Palestinian, Jewish, Muslim, Christian. I wouldn't be Miss Rachel if I didn't speak up for them and speak up for all of them.
This is a prayer for all the children.
Miss Rachel has also used her platform to express grief over the deaths of Israeli children and said she's met with the family of hostages still in captivity.
Oh, she's keeping the walker with her.
Here in the U.S., Rahaf was fit for prosthetics and has learned how to walk again. A group called Palestinian Children's Relief Fund helped her and her mom get out. But her dad and two brothers are still in Gaza.
رهف قدرت تطلع بس في أطفال تانيين لسه موجودين بغزة وبتمنى إنه هدول الأطفال إنه يطلعوا يتعالجوا زي رهف أنا ما بدي كيف.
Bro, white people at one speed, dude. All lives matter. You know what I mean? Everything. Hold on now. They'd be fucking all lives matter in the Holocaust, dude, if they knew exactly what the fuck was going on,
مجرد ما يحكوا مع رهف ولا بتاكل بصيروا يسألوا فيها. طبعا هذا الإشي كتير بيوجعني.
Anything is possible for Rahaf, and she has healthy food, and she's clean water, and she has wonderful medical care. This girl is thriving. We have to do this for all kids because they all deserve that.
It's worse than that. Miss Rachel is effectively being forced to adopt an all lives matter stance, and that is too offensive. And that is too offensive to Israeli advocates responding with a white lives matter more. Yeah. That is what it is, dude. I don't want to watch that full video again. I almost cried last time I watched it. I'm sorry. I can't watch it again. The amputee baby. Mahmoud Khalil, in some good news, I guess, Mahmoud Khalil got to meet his newborn son as lawyers are fighting his deportation order.
University grad student as the immigration...
English HasanAbi has spoken.
Do not let yourself be fooled. This shooting of diplomats who worked for the Israeli government is not an example of anti-Semitism. The man was literally Christian. Here he is himself admitting it, and here is someone who knew him.
Yeah, he literally said, Israel is the only place in the Middle East where Christians can thrive. Not perfect, but livable. Speaking as a Christian myself. As for the rest of the Middle East, I would say it depends in what direction the Muslim world develops, more moderate or more fundamentalist. Meanwhile, this swagged out white boy was literally at the heart of fundamentalism in the Middle East, okay? Aligned with some of the most fundamentalist nations in the Middle East, the Gulf states, of course. But the idea that Israel is Jewish and therefore it is incapable of being fundamentalist is so fucking stupid. You got members of the Knesset arguing about how little women should be able to read. What the fuck are we doing? It is literally a religious ethno-state. It is by design. It is now in the Constitution. It's a constitutional religious ethno-state where the parties that are gaining more prominence, slowly but surely, are directly advocating for how women shouldn't be able to read, okay? Then what the fuck? What do you mean?
And here is someone who knew him saying that the guy was 100% a Christian and not Jewish. So don't let yourself be quickly fooled by the Israeli narrative that this is...
Yeah. He was raised in a household where I think his dad is Jewish. His mom is an evangelical Christian. And despite his upbringing as a Christian man, he went to Israel, he volunteered to fight within the Israeli occupying force, joined the Israeli embassy,
This is an example of terrifying anti-Semitism on the streets. And I don't think I'll share it in this video, but here's Ken Klippenstein sharing the shooter's manifesto. This wasn't some crazed guy who wanted to go out and target Jewish people on the basis of their Jewishness. What it actually was someone undertaking what they saw as an act of protest against a government that is exterminating tens of thousands, if not over 100,000 people in the Gaza Strip, is openly saying that they want to control it and expel the population. This is what Israel says. This action didn't come from rising anti-Semitism.
Also, for the record, like, even if he was Jewish, that still would not change this. Like, even if he was Jewish, like, the shooter is very clearly saying that he was looking for someone that he could target specifically because of their involvement with Israel, and that this was an act of violence, as an act of protest against the state of Israel and its unjustifiable crimes. You don't have to agree with his methods, okay? That's not what I'm saying, and it's not a justification, but you have to understand, like, this is probably worse for me to admit. It would be easier for me to say, like, nah, this guy wasn't an anti-Zionist, he's just some fucking Nazi, who cares, and move on. But the reason why I'm saying the truth here is not to be like, oh, this is a totally justifiable act, I'm 100% fucking defending it. The reason why I'm explaining it to you is because the media narratives that actually claim that he is being anti-Semitic and doing this are doing it so that they can conflate Judaism with Zionism once again. Because every single thing that happens has to be packaged around that fucking conflation. Okay? It has to be packaged around that conflation, because this is the way that Israel propagandizes is its position. Okay?
Or chants on the street. This action came because Western governments were refusing to do anything about their complicity in Israel's extermination of the Palestinian people.
Wait, I'm lost. Why is the shooter's religion? It's not that the shooter's religion is important for Israel ideologically. It's that they want to say that this is an act of like random anti-Semitic attacks. Okay? They want to make it seem like all Jews are under threat all the time. All Jews are under threat all the time. This is why Israel has to continue being as violent as it is, and you can't say anything about it. You shouldn't say anything about it. Because if Israel didn't exist, then Jews would have nowhere to go. Then the fucking Holocaust would happen again.
Department looks to deport this legal permanent resident. The immigration judge today began the hearing by denying a government motion that would have prevented Mohammad Khalil from raising an asylum claim. The judge also heard witness testimony on Khalil's behalf. He was involved in pro-Palestinian protests on Columbia's campus last year. He's not been accused of a crime, but immigration officials arrested him last March in New York City, and he's been held in a Louisiana detention center ever since. Khalil was incarcerated when his son was born. Attorneys say he got to hold him for the first time today.
We do have breaking news now. The Trump administration is just...
Yeah, by the way, Trump is still doing crack cocaine on a daily basis. Because while we were in the process of covering all this stuff that took place, okay, we have yet another psychopathic decision coming down from the Trump administration, which has already been blocked by a judge, but still, Trump administration halts Harvard's ability to enroll international students. The move was a major escalation in the administration's efforts to pressure the college to fall in line with President Trump's demand